make the slide for it. Oops. Shit, I just cut the local by accident. Damn it, I'm all over the place. It's going to be a long day. So Daily Dot, the website that Chris has blamed for his system getting hackzord. This is where it's at. The owner had a mysterious disappearance, and the team has basically collapsed. Quantic Gaming, this guy bought Team Fortnite, and then he bought Quantic, and they've just sort of been slowly throwing away money. This guy's name is Simon Boudreau. Is that right? Are there any Frenchies in the chat? Let me pull up Twitch chat here. Is it Simon Boudreau? That's the best I can guess. My French is lackluster. It's an interesting story, though. Basically, this guy just sort of stopped paying people and has now disappeared. He hasn't contacted anyone from his organization in a long time. It's been like multiple weeks now since anyone's heard of him, and everyone is basically just assuming their contracts are void. I shouldn't switch back to opening thoughts. It's kind of a shame. I don't really know exactly what the deal is, why he disappeared. This is part of the problem with those personally... Sorry, give me 1 second here. I'm just going to make this slide real fast so it makes sense for what we're talking about. I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. But this is part of the problem with the personally funded teams, because that person that controls all the money can just decide one day, hey, you know what, man? I don't want to do this anymore. And then once that guy disappears, what do you got? And you're left with this very non-organic organization. And it's kind of a shame. A lot of people lost a lot of money. They had Korean players as well. So very unfortunate. We're going to play a clip from this interview. And he's an interesting guy. Well, let's just play a little clip here and see where we're coming from. Quantic. So this was actually recorded at MLG Dallas 2012. That's Gwen. I met him too.
I'm just the owner of Fortnite. Yeah, it's just that. I'm just the one that pays them to go to events and stuff like that.
True.
Yeah, not really important.
I'd like to thank you for supporting.
So he's kind of an interesting guy, and I say interesting.
It's a good thing, I guess. I love
because he's not really an experienced business individual. I met him at MLG Raleigh 2012. Yes, MLG Raleigh 2012. So maybe a few months after MLG Dallas, when that interview that we just looked at was taken. I actually met him in the lobby of a hotel, and it was a weird thing. I was with Scott Ball. He works for Razer now. His handle is Rumcake. We were sitting in a lobby, and someone had left a bag, like a keyboard bag somewhere, and Scott had it. And this guy came in and was like, oh, you have my player's bag. Oh, good. Okay, great. I don't have to buy him a new keyboard. And we met this guy. He was the owner of Fortnite, who was basically an unsuccessful League of Legends team, a very small-ranked team. And his model was non-existent. His model was, well, I inherited a whole bunch. He told us, I inherited a whole bunch of money from my dad, who died, and I decided to do esports with it. But he has to my knowledge, no real business training, and has just been pouring money into it with little to no real plan or like business outline or objectives to find some sort of positive return on investment. So obviously you can see how after a couple years of throwing away hundreds of thousands of dollars, why one in his position would want to disappear. I can sort of understand where he's coming from. I don't really understand why a lot of people put stock in this guy. I guess when someone says, hey, I'll pay you money to be on my League of Legends team, you just sort of say, okay, sure, pay me to play League of Legends. I can understand from that perspective why you would go with this individual, but I wasn't very impressed with him. I'll be honest. I remember giving him a business card. At the time, I was trying to break into League of Legends, and I said, come on, man, give me a call, and I can help you out here. And he never contacted me. I guess I didn't make a good impression on him either. But it's just weird. He's literally disappeared. The StarCraft player, Hyun, he had a salary of $2,200 per month, and apparently that hasn't been paid for several months, and a lot of other individuals haven't been paid. I don't know, guys. It's it's just sad. It's never good for esports when this kind of shit happens because it just makes everybody look bad. You know, it looks sort of, it trivializes what we're doing. It makes some people that just, it projects this image that we're all like this. Not all of us, but that it's not a legitimate business. It's just people throwing money into something. And that is the case in some situations, but not for the bulk of the industry. And it's just a shame when someone acts so immaturely like this Simon has. I see someone in chat here with a question. Do you think that was the fault of his decision making as the guy footing the bill, or did management under him make some bad calls and lead to it? That's a really good question, and I'm not really that sure. I only met the Quantic guys a couple of times, like the previous owners that he bought the brand from. I would not. I think buying the Quantic brand was a mistake. That's about all that I can boil it down to. I was there when they were filming these interviews and saw how much money the Quantic owners were putting into this stuff. I mean, you know, let's go to this video on YouTube, right? Like check this out right here.
Big fan of it.
So, like, and you can just look at this guy's, like, body language.
Esport and,
like, well, he's not...
Everyone that has an esport organization, pretty much.
He's got a funny way about him. I don't look at this guy and think to myself, you know what? This is the guy that I'm going to trust to pay my bills when I'm in Korea. You know what I mean? I don't get that vibe from this guy. Nothing against him. Not that you should judge a book by its cover, but, like I said, I also met him and I had some back and forth with him, but... You know, we asked him, like, you know, so what's your esports team like? He's like, well, it's only kind of a team. I just basically buy them keyboards and stuff and buy their plane tickets so they can have a good time. It's like, well, that's not really a plan. But, like, look how many dislikes this video has. Like, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of value in the Quantic brand. It was a very new brand. Their team had never really won anything. They weren't around long enough to have, like, a really dedicated... It'd be one thing to buy Team Liquid, right? They have a really dedicated following. They have a very strong fan base. They have a huge website. Quantic didn't have any kind of infrastructure like that. So what was the value? I mean, I have no idea how much he bought Quantic for. Like, there are player contracts and stuff, but if Quantic just disappeared and then those players went off contract and you just hired them on a new brand, you can basically do that for free without buying a brand that already exists. He says he had no experience, so maybe he just signed checks. Yeah, I mean, there's a fundamental problem with putting the person on top of the organization that has no experience in esports, no business training, and doesn't really have a firm grasp on managing financials, right? He inherited $200,000. Obviously, this guy doesn't do much budgeting. Obviously, he doesn't, you know, have to worry too much about, should I get pizza or should I get Wendy's tonight? I don't know, which is cheaper. This guy does what he wants because he has a lot of money that he just got. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a trust fund baby or inheriting money, but that doesn't qualify you to run things. It just qualifies you to not have a job if you don't feel like working. I don't know. I think, yeah, it looks like he knows he's in way over his head. I think Space Chief is hitting the nail on the head in chat. I think so too. I think he's a guy that just sort of had some money, wanted to do something fun. He liked video games, wanted to help support the scene, didn't realize how quickly things become serious, and got to the point where he was so far underwater, didn't know what to do. He just disappeared. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's just a shame. I'm sad the way it happened, but it's interesting that I got to meet him. I probably have his business card somewhere. Actually, you know what? I don't think he had business cards. If I'm thinking back correctly, I gave him a card, but I don't think he had one. I can't remember what it looked like, so he must not have had one. It's a bummer. So very weird stuff. So that pretty much wraps up our episode today, though, guys. We don't have too much other content. So what we'll do here is take the last couple minutes or so, 1 or 2 minutes. Why did I say 1 or 2 minutes? 5 or 10 minutes or so, depending on how long it lasts. We're going to make this into a kind of an open AMA here. So feel free to post your questions. I will answer some things here for the next few moments and interact with you guys a little bit since we don't have too much else going on. Since Charlie's not here and Chris is apparently being attacked by cyborgs. Open Q&A for Zyori. Let's do this thing. What do we got going on, Twitch chat? Hello. As I plugged earlier, while we're waiting for some questions to come in, I'm sure you're all furiously typing. I did post a new Zyori podcast yesterday. Woo! run the streamers. Here it is. Sayori Podcast number 25. It was a good one, too. I talked about all MOBA stuff. We talked about Historic Philadelphia, talked about S2's game Strife and why it will have toxicity, and also why I'm okay with MOBA as a title for our genre. I implore you all to check it out. Going to continue to plug myself while I wait for questions. Okay, so here we go. Any news about QPad? Are they going to continue their journey in Dota 2? I got an update from Chris. Looks like he did get a drive-by from some ad service, and he is cleaning it. That's good. Good news. So here we go. Are there any news about QPad? Not to my knowledge. Nothing formal, at least, of what's happening with their team. Obviously, they're in kind of a state of disarray. But no, I don't have any info on that front. Let me check their Gamepedia. Yeah, I don't see anything. Blue Banana and Durham are the only two officials on their roster. I guess Wagamama is listed, but I don't think he's really contributing much at this point. Does Total Biscuit still own QPad? I don't know. On the Gamepedia, it says GD is their manager. I don't know, guys. I don't know shit about QPad, all right? This is not a good topic because it's just not something I'm informed on. Are you gay? No. Do I lift? No. More thoughts on what happened to Blitz and Foyu's disband? I don't really have a lot of thoughts. We talked about it in the show right after it happened in good detail. I would recommend going back and looking at that VOD. I don't know what number it was, but you can look at the date and figure it out from there. It was sad. I feel bad for Blitz, but I think things may work out for him a little bit in the end. How did I initially get into Dota? Warcraft 3, man. I played Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne. That was my main game for a while. I started playing World of Warcraft vanilla version. My real-life friends and I in high school, we would LAN almost every weekend, at least a couple times a month. We would play World of Warcraft, farm a little bit SM2, a little bit of Stratholme, get those righteous orbs, sell them, make some bank when we get bored of farming, go play a little bit of Dota. We noobed it up. We put Sand King solo top. We did Lina Lich dual mid. Every game was a lot of fun. I was the Lich player, and of course I was carry Lich because who buys wards or supports or does anything else? And then I got into Dota 2 a while ago, actually. Back before TI2, I did some casting with its Gosu, and then I did some real-life stuff and did some League of Legends. Then I came back when I had the idea for Dota Radio. Which hero would you like to take on a date? Whoa, that's a tough one. I don't know. Crystal Maiden, Lena, those are the two easy ones. Probably Windrunner, honestly. I like redheads, and I do like Windrunner. She's cute. Why Dazzle? Because Dazzle is the best hero in the game. I like Dazzle. I like the way he plays. I think Shallow Grave is one of the most deadly abilities in the game. Deadly in terms of it's raw power, keeping someone alive. I think his abilities all synergize well. I like that his spells do physical damage. I like that I can insta-kill creep waves with my heal. I like that I can turn fights around with a nice weave, nice combo. I don't know, Dazzle's just awesome. I like the way he looks. I love his attack animation. Why phase boots? That's a great question, because phase boots are awesome. It's great to be able to chase people down. I think the the movement speed boost synergizes well with the slow that is poison touch, so you can chase people down and not let them get away when you're trying to engage. And I like the right-click damage. When you use Poison Touch, you could usually get at least 2 or 3 right-clicks off while they're slowed trying to run away. And I think the extra bit of right-click from the phase boots really helps. And I like the movement speed. I like being able to sprint away from people that don't have phase boots. It saved me on many an occasion, and I like it. Have you ever been interested in playing Dota 2 on a professional team? No, not really. How easy do you think it is for esports players to switch their main games to another games, like strategy coming to MOBA? Very difficult. It's hard to go from a single-player game like StarCraft into a team game like League or Dota. I think if you already play a MOBA, it's pretty easy to switch, like from Han to Dota, from League to Dota, from Dota to League. All that's pretty easy. It just takes time to get used to the meta and the mechanics and that kind of stuff. But the premise is the same, and most pro players, I think, can do it pretty easily. Why you suck at supporting? Because carry Dazzle. Let's see here. Do you think Russians are the ultimate Dota 2 players? If not, why are you such a racist cunt? Nah, Russians are all right. I don't get them too often on my servers, so I don't have much of an opinion on Russians. let's see here. Thoughts on the upcoming custom maps that Valve are supposed to release. There were supposed to be hundreds of them, like those for Dota 2 or from Dota 1. It's interesting. I like the premise. I think it's really important to have some sort of a way to play the game that isn't just a competitive mode. As silly as Wraith Knight and those other games are, Wraith Knight. Yeah, Wraith Knight. Right? I keep confusing Wraith Knight and Wraith King. It's too much. I think it's good to have something to break it up so that you can still play Dota without playing Dota. Ladder anxiety is a very real thing for a lot of people, even though it's kind of silly. And I think it's just good to have something else to add variety to the game. Because there are times when I'm just like, I'm in the mood to play a game, but I don't feel like queuing Dota right now. I'm not in the mood to really try hard. Custom games are great for that. It keeps people engaged, and that's part of what the crafting system does. So I think it's good. People really liked custom games on Warcraft 3. I think that Warcraft 3, particularly Frozen Throne, had some of the best Battle.net experience, online experience of any other game. I'm a big fan of the way the chat channels worked, the tournament system, the way you could search for random RT games. You could search for arranged team games, and there were custom games where you could play Dota and all sorts of other stuff or just practice against the computer. I really liked Warcraft 3's the way the clans worked, the way channel moderation. So anything that Valve can do to emulate more of a Warcraft 3-like environment, I think is good. I'm really a big fan. I think that was Blizzard's best product, Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne, outside of World of Warcraft. But in terms of true Battle.net experience, I mean, StarCraft 2, the Battle.net experience sucked. No chat channels, all that shit. Ridiculousness. Warcraft 3 takes the cake, in my humble opinion. Do you think custom maps is going to take off and bring more people to Dota? I do. Sort of on that same note that I was talking about, I really do. I think it's good to have casual stuff. It's fairly common knowledge these days that the largest demographic of gamers are the casual gamers. That's why League of Legends is so popular. So, stay-at-home moms playing those Facebook games, a huge demographic. So having things that bring people into the game, get them immersed in what's happening in Dota and the lore and just the environment in a way that even casuals can enjoy, I think is a good thing, as long as it doesn't take away from the competitive nature of the game. I think it's good. So, wow, going right around here. Koreans ban on cat food. Yeah, I don't know much about that. When you play as Dazzle, do you enjoy the majestic flick of his hair, and does it increase the chunkiness of your meat missile tenfold? I'm going to say affirmative. I do enjoy Dazzle aesthetically as well as practically. Do you feel that wearing a fedora improves your ability to play? Not particularly, though I've never tried it. Can you show us your Tetris skills? I actually could. Do you hide keys inside of your dreadlocks like Davy Jones? No, but I should. I do have 3 rings that I keep inside my dreads that are actually out of the dreads right now because I just got them done. I haven't put them back in yet, but that's about all that hides in my dreads. Not much else other than that. The cats are dying. Oh, man. Do you think that the maps will be a possibility... do you think that the custom maps will be possibly a category in future TIs with a smaller prize or something? Not really. I mean, it's possible. It could be fun to see the pros play custom games, but I think all in all, their purpose is to cater to the casual market, and that's a lot different from the competitive pros. I think for some funsies here and there, sort of similar to like a 1v1 mid tournament, we have something like that once a year. Yeah, it could be fun, but nothing too serious. Would be a nice way to break up stuff on TI4 perhaps, but not a big fan of that shit. DreamHack Summer 2012, when I was casting Han, on the last day, we reserved that day for the fun day, and we had to cast Mid Wars. That was terrible. I don't like it. I like esports. I like the competitiveness. There's a reason I don't cast EEL and NEL because it's just too clowny. I don't like it. It's not my thing. And casting Mid Wars was painful. So it's interesting to watch, but not that huge. If Dazzle had a dreadlock set, would you buy it? Absolutely. People have talked to me about you should make a Dazzle set with dreads, and I would love to. That's sort of a tentative plan that I have. Not a real plan, but something that I would like to do that I think would be cool. I'd do it. Do you think that pros will slack off on normal Dota 2 and get addicted to custom maps? No. I don't think so. I think most pro players will think about it kind of like I am, in that it's sort of fun here and there, but they have busy schedules. They'll be playing plenty of Dota. Will you be at PAX East 2014? I sure hope so. I have a ticket already. Hotel is booked, and I'm tentatively planning to be there. So I will see you at PAX East 2014. Do Do you think ES will be released as is, or is he getting nerfed by ES? He certainly means Earth Spirit, not Earth Shaker. And I think that is a wholehearted yes, absolutely. There is no way Earth Spirit will be released into Captain's Mode as is. He is ridiculous. He is the strongest hero in the game right now, I think, without a doubt. He's absolutely insane. The range on his abilities is ridiculous. He has unbelievable positioning tools. There's basically no risk to his playstyle. He has an easy escape mechanism. I don't know. I don't see any foreseeable way that he could be put into Captain's Mode and not be insta-banned as is. Will you do a backflip on camera? I would if I could, but I can't. If Dazzle had a dreadlock set, would you cosplay it at the following event you cast out? I'm not going to make the same mistake Gods did and bite off more than I can chew, but if I was going to do a cosplay, I would probably do a Dazzle cosplay. I'm not a big fan of face paint, and that is an integral part of the Dazzle setup, but I would certainly consider it, for sure. Custom maps, their development by the community or Valve only, purchased through the store? I don't know that I like the idea of them being purchased. I mean, that's not a bad idea. I guess it's good to get some money flowing. I worry about them getting too expensive, but that could be a whole sub-market. I'm not against the idea. I like the idea of custom maps being set up just like items are with the workshop. You know, community members can step up, put their skills to the test, and then people can download and play them. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why Valve would want to commandeer that and have Valve-only custom maps, but it's their prerogative. They may choose to do that. Seems weird that you'd have to buy them, though. I don't know. Have you spent money in the Dota 2 store sale? I have not, actually. I've perused some sets and thought about buying some things, but a lot of the sets that I like the way they look, are on heroes I don't play very often, and sets on the heroes that I play, I don't really care for. My Dazzle set is okay. I'm not too keen on the 2 Dazzle sets. I like some of the Windrunner sets, but I haven't bought too much. I'm not that big on the cosmetics. I sort of make light of it in competitive games and check them out, but I don't really care that much. Dazzle and Furion are the only 2 that I have decent sets for and that I care about. Would you cosplay someone who isn't a total loser? I guess. I don't really know. What's that? Who is more OP at the moment, Earth or Ember Spirit? Absolutely Earth Spirit. Ember Spirit is just a carry. I don't think Ember Spirit is innately powerful. If you farm double Battle Fury on him, he gets pretty scary. That thing where he hops forward does a fuck ton of damage, but I think Earth Spirit is infinitely more broken. His positioning tools, his escape mechanisms. When I see an Ember Spirit, I think, let's just kill him. When I see an Earth Spirit, I think to myself, unless we have 3 stuns, we're not going to kill this guy. Lollipops, you've asked some good questions here. Comments on the loss of LGD versus Vici after they lost against IG. The casters kept saying it was because they played a full 5 games of a best of 3 against IG and still lost, which made them feel less spirited, and that they were not even trying against Vici. That's one of those, like, that's so speculative, and I'm not really that well informed on that whole scenario. I don't watch a lot of Chinese Dota. It's not on my time schedule for Star Ladder and such. I don't know. There's something true to be said for the fatigue of playing a full 5 games and coming in, and after you take a loss, feeling less spirit. I think there's some truth to it. It's impossible to say how much of a factor that was. I don't know. So I see someone, would you like to see 1,000 different Footman maps? I'd rather see 1 come from the workshop. That's very true. That is one of the problems, mainstreaming the maps. Yeah, I don't really have a great solution. Having community members work on it, I don't know. I think there needs to be some central system Valve has to set down, because I agree. I'd rather there just be a concise, 10 custom games. Instead of just 1,000, everyone's own little tweaked method here and there. I kind of agree. I would much rather see some sort of a cohesion, some standard where, okay, you want to play Footman Frenzy, here it is. That definitely makes sense. Yes, I will be casting Star Ladder today, coming up here in about 20 minutes on Beyond the Summit. Do you think that Zephyr can cast can win NSL 3? I think they can. I think they're in an environment where they have an opportunity to. I think they have a good roster that has the potential to do it. I think Purge is the big wild card, though. As Hippie was saying before he dropped from the show today, Purge is a very knowledgeable player, a great player, but he doesn't have he doesn't have a ton of competitive experience, and I wonder if that's really going to hurt them or if that's not going to be a huge deal. So that will be interesting. Thoughts on prize distribution in tournaments? 3K for 4th place, but over 500K for first. Should the winner get that much? Yeah, that's more of an Asian thing. I've noticed the Asian tournaments like to make the tournaments more top-heavy, so that final series. I think some of that is because esports is more established there. They've had more problems with match fixing, so they try and do that to incentivize. Like, if you have first and second really close to each other, it's a lot more tempting for teams to say, you know what, why don't we just play and we'll just split the prize? Who gives a shit? Because it works out pretty much the same. When you have a gap from like 150K down to like 15K, no team wants to do that. That incentivizes every team to really push hard for first. And I think that's what the Asian tournament organizers are really trying to incentivize, putting in a check to prevent match fixing with that kind of money on the table. I think that's the mindset behind it. I can't say for sure. I don't have a huge problem with it. I think the sustainability for players needs to come through salaries, not tournament winnings. I think when you're trying to build something that's sustainable based on tournament winnings, you already have a flawed premise because it's not sustainable. You have to practice and put in a lot of time before you can win big tournaments. So I think salaries are the key, not necessarily the breakdown of the prize money. So I'm okay with the top team being rewarded quite a bit. What courier do I use? The Naked Greevil, baby. Oh, yeah. Thoughts on the Korean Dota 2 community, whether they are really able to face current teams on an even scale, or are they still behind due to their late start, and is it really possible for them to pull themselves to the current team's level, and how long do you think that will take? That's a really complex question, but I think there is potential. I think it's going to take a while because they are at a disadvantage time-wise. They've been playing the game less long, but one thing that Korea does well is train people to perform in esports. They have a track record of being the best in the world in a lot of other titles, so I think if there's a country that is well-suited to come into the action late and eventually work their way up to the top, I think Korea is well-suited to do it. I don't know that it'll happen. How long will it take is a really difficult question. I would say at least past TI4, probably TI5, something like that. What do you do if your team insta-picks 4 carries? I type ... and go, okay, I guess I'm picking Dazzle. Luckily in the pub scene, 4 carry strategy can win because teams are not very adamant about pushing in a lot of scenarios, so not the worst scenario. Usually that is a game where I'll just go ahead and grab Dazzle straight away, though. Sometimes Windrunner, maybe. But I think that actually it's pretty close to the end here, guys. I'm going to cut it a little bit short as I want to have plenty of time for getting ready to do BTS here. I'm going to have to get some more food so I don't keel over, and I may be solo casting Game 1 while Chris is dealing with his spyware since somebody hacksored his system. Any future guests to plan bring on Dota Radio? Yeah, we're definitely going to have guests. Like I said on Monday, this is sort of a weird kind of off-season where a lot of people are on holiday. There's not a lot of news going on. So we do have plans to get the show back to normal, but this holiday season has really messed things up. Charlie is traveling right now, so that kind of screwed with us a little bit. So we'll be back to... Let me just put it this way. We'll be back to normal soon-ish, sometime in January as things settle down. There's still a lot of announcements, a lot of things pending, so it's just a weird time, guys. It really is just a weird time. Once again, I'm going to plug my podcast here. I'm going to drop the link in chat. If you're itching for more audio-only content, you can find it at Zyori.tv, my most recent podcast. I think that's it, though, guys. Thank you for joining us here for this weird episode of the morning show. This was a very chaotic one. Ended up being mostly solo Zyori as somehow Chris downloaded some Bad News Bears kind of stuff. And, well, glad we were able to do this. This Q&A worked out pretty well. I do want to thank all of you for your questions. It was a lot of fun. One of these days I'm going to do a real-ass AMA somewhere. But today is not that day. Had fun keeping it casual. And thank you. Appreciate all of you guys. Remember to follow us on all of our social media, not our show hosts, and join us on the web, dotaradio.com/morningshow. Remember, you can always write into us as well, morningshow@dotaradio.com. I will be on vacation coming up this next week. We're still not sure exactly how we're going to handle the morning show, but I will be in Vermont from the 5th to the 11th. I talk about it in the podcast quite a bit. We may have Hippie host the show while I'm gone. Still working out all the deets on that front. But again, thank you for joining us, guys. I'm headed over to Beyond the Summit to cast Starladder Season 8 Round Robin. Hopefully you'll join me there. Take care.